You think you lost that argument because your facts weren't strong enough. You didn't. You lost because you believed facts mattered in the first place. Machiavelli understood something most people never will. Truth doesn't persuade. Power does. Every debate you've ever had, every heated discussion where you brought evidence, logic, reason, you were playing a game you didn't understand, and your opponent, they knew the real rules. This isn't about being right. It never was. It is about who walks away holding the frame. We're told that intelligent people debate with facts. That reasoned argument is the hallmark of civilization. That if you just explain clearly enough, people will see reason. This is a beautiful lie, one that keeps you weak. Machiavelli watched the courts of Renaissance Italy. He saw princes fall not because they were wrong, but because they believed being right would save them. He saw diplomats lose negotiations despite having better terms. He saw the righteous executed while the cunning thrived. And he wrote it down, not because he was cruel, but because he was honest. The prince wasn't a manual for tyrants. It was a mirror held up to power. And what it revealed was this: arguments are never won with facts. They're won with emotion, status, and force. Watch what happens when someone presents facts in an argument. The other person doesn't think, "Let me reconsider my position." They think, "Let me defend myself." Because you didn't trigger their reasoning center, you triggered their ego. Every fact you present is received as an attack. Every statistic, a threat. Every piece of evidence, a challenge to their identity. The human brain wasn't designed for truth. It was designed for survival, and survival means protecting the self-concept at all costs. Machiavelli knew this. That is why he never tried to convince through reason. He understood that persuasion isn't about changing minds. It is about making people want to change their minds. There is a difference. A critical one. Let me show you how arguments actually work. Forget the debate stage. Forget the courtroom. Real persuasion happens in 3 dimensions, not one. First, emotional state. You can be 100% right. But if you trigger fear, anger, or shame in your opponent, you've lost. They'll fight you with everything they have. Not because you are wrong, but because you made them feel threatened. Second, social proof. A single person can be convinced with facts. A group, never. Groups move with the herd. If the room believes X, presenting evidence for Y makes you the outsider. And humans fear exclusion more than being wrong. Third, frame control. This is the master key. Whoever controls the frame controls the argument. It doesn't matter what facts exist inside that frame. The frame itself determines what is acceptable to think. Machiavelli understood all 3. That is why his advice still cuts through centuries. Cesare Borgia was brutal, cunning, and extraordinarily effective. Machiavelli studied him obsessively. Not because he admired cruelty, but because Borgia understood power at a level most men never reach. When Borgia conquered the Romagna, he didn't debate the locals. He didn't present facts about why his rule would be better. He installed a ruthless governor who terrorized the region into submission. Then, once order was established, he had that same governor executed in the public square. The people cheered. They saw Borgia as their savior from the tyrant he himself had installed. This is frame control at its purest. Borgia created the problem, solved it publicly, and walked away with loyalty. No facts, no debate, just calculated manipulation of perception. Machiavelli saw this and understood. Reality matters less than the story people believe about reality. The smarter you are, the more you trust facts. And that is exactly why intelligent people lose arguments to those less informed. Because you think you are in a contest of ideas. They know they're in a contest of wills. You bring data, They bring conviction. You explain nuance. They deliver certainty. You qualify your statements. They make absolute claims. Guess who the crowd follows? Not the person who is right. The person who is confident. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand," meaning, they trust what they see, not what they can verify. Appearance matters more than substance, always has. This isn't cynicism. It is observation. Every argument has an emotional undercurrent. Ignore it, and you are fighting with one hand tied. When someone argues against you, they're not protecting their position. They're protecting their identity. Their sense of who they are is tied to being right. So when you attack their argument, you attack them. And people don't surrender themselves easily. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that fear and love were more powerful than logic. That reputation could be weaponized. That appearing reasonable, while being ruthless, was the ultimate combination. You want to win an argument. Stop trying to prove them wrong. Make them want to agree with you. Humans are pack animals. We evolved to survive in groups. And that evolution left a mark. We're wired to conform, to follow the majority, to fear being cast out. This is why arguments in public are almost never won with facts. If the group already leans one way, your facts won't matter. You are fighting group cohesion, and group cohesion beats truth every single time. Machiavelli watched this play out in Italian politics constantly. The person who could rally the crowd didn't need to be right. They needed to be loud, certain, and aligned with existing beliefs. That is why populists win. Not because they're correct, but because they understand the game. This is where most people fail completely. They enter an argument on someone else's terms. And once you are inside their frame, you've already lost. Let me give you an example. Someone says, "Why are you so defensive?" If you respond with, "I am not being defensive," you've accepted their frame. You are now defending yourself against the charge of being defensive, which makes you look defensive. You lost before you opened your mouth. Frame control means defining the terms of engagement. It means refusing to play games you can't win. Machiavelli was a master of this. When accused, he reframed. When attacked, he shifted the battlefield. He never fought on enemy ground. Here is where Machiavelli gets dangerous, he said. It is not necessary for a prince to have all good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. Read that again. He is not saying be good. He is saying look good. Because in arguments, in politics, in social dynamics, perception is reality. You can be wrong and win if you appear right. You can be cruel and win if you appear just. The crowd doesn't care about truth. They care about narrative. And the person who controls the narrative controls everything. Machiavelli also warned against being too honest. Not because honesty is wrong, but because it is dangerous. Truth makes enemies. When you speak uncomfortable truths, people don't thank you. They resent you. Because you've disrupted their comfortable illusions, you've challenged the stories they tell themselves. And for that, they'll punish you, even if you are right. Especially if you are right. This is why whistleblowers are destroyed. Why prophets are killed. Why speaking truth to power is a death sentence. Not because power hates truth, but because truth threatens stability. And people crave stability more than they crave truth. Eventually, every argument comes down to force, not physical violence necessarily, but a threat of consequences. Machiavelli understood this completely. He wrote, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, it is safer to be feared than loved." Harsh, maybe. True, absolutely. Because when facts fail, when emotion fails, when social proof fails, what remains is power. The ability to impose consequences. This is why bosses win arguments with employees. Why parents win arguments with children. Why governments win arguments with citizens. Not because they're right, but because they can enforce their will. You think you form your opinions independently. You don't. Every belief you hold has been shaped by social pressure, emotional conditioning, and power structures. Even your rebellion against those structures is often just another form of conformity. Machiavelli saw through all of it. He recognized that free will is mostly an illusion, that people respond to incentives, fears, and desires in predictable ways, and that understanding these patterns gives you control, not through force, but through design. By engineering the environment where decisions are made. Here is the cruel joke. The more you learn about how persuasion actually works, the less effective your facts become. Because you start to see arguments as power games instead of truth-seeking missions, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every debate becomes theater. Every rational discussion reveals itself as emotional manipulation. Every appeal to logic shows itself as an appeal to authority. Machiavelli lived in this clarity. It isolated him, made him cynical, gave him insight that terrified his contemporaries, but it also made him right. Machiavelli divided humanity into three categories: those who understand on their own, those who understand when shown, and those who understand neither for themselves nor through others. Most people are in the third category. They don't want to understand. They want to feel certain. They don't want truth. They want comfort, and trying to convince them with facts is like trying to fill a cup with no bottom. Facts presented at the wrong time are useless. Machiavelli understood that timing matters more than content. A truth told too early falls on deaf ears. A truth told too late is seen as excuse-making. The master persuader waits for the right moment, when emotions are aligned, when social conditions permit, when the frame is set. Only then do they strike, and when they do, it looks effortless. Because the groundwork was laid long before, idealists lose to realists every single time. Not because their ideals are wrong, but because they refuse to play the game. They think shoulds matter more than is. They think ought matters more than can. Machiavelli had no patience for this. He said the gap between how we live and how we ought to live is so wide that anyone who abandons what is for what should be learns their ruin. Harsh truth. The world doesn't reward virtue. It rewards effectiveness. Authority isn't given, it is taken, and it is maintained through perception management. Machiavelli watched princes rise and fall. The ones who survived weren't the kindest or the smartest. They were the ones who understood how to appear legitimate, how to dress power in acceptable clothing, how to make their will seem like natural order. In arguments, this translates directly. The person who appears authoritative wins, even if they're wrong, because people defer to confidence. They mistake certainty for competence, and they follow strength, real or perceived. Here is a counterintuitive truth. Sometimes admitting you don't know is more powerful than pretending you do. But only if you do it strategically. Machiavelli would feign ignorance to draw out information. He'd express uncertainty to avoid commitment. He'd ask questions to make others reveal their positions. This is different from genuine uncertainty. This is controlled vulnerability used as a weapon. And it works because it makes others lower their guard. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you changed your mind because someone presented you with facts? Really changed your mind on something important? Chances are it has been a while or never. Now ask, why would you expect others to do what you yourself don't do? This is the mirror test, and it reveals the fundamental delusion. We think we're rational, while everyone else is emotional. We think we respond to logic while they respond to bias. The truth We're all running on emotion and retrofitting logic to justify our positions. Machiavelli knew this. That is why he never relied on rational argument. Arguments aren't about truth seeking, they're about dominance display, about establishing hierarchy, about defending territory, whether intellectual or social. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can stop losing. Because once you understand the real game, you can play it consciously. You can choose when to engage and when to walk away. You can stop wasting energy on unwinnable fights. Machiavelli would never argue with a fool. Not because he couldn't win, but because there was nothing to gain. Understanding all this comes with a cost. You start to see manipulation everywhere. Every commercial, every speech, every conversation. You recognize the patterns, the appeals to emotion, the frame games, and it becomes harder to engage authentically, because you are always aware of the game being played. This was Machiavelli's curse. He saw too clearly. He couldn't participate in the illusions that make social life comfortable. And it made him lonely, isolated, feared, but also free. So what do you do with this knowledge? You can't unlearn it, can't pretend. You don't see the machinery beneath the surface. You have three options. 1. Become cynical. Use these techniques purely for personal gain. Manipulate freely. 2. Withdraw. Refuse to play the game. Accept marginalization as the price of authenticity. 3. Navigate consciously. Understand the game but choose your moves based on principle, not just effectiveness. Machiavelli himself struggled with this choice. His writing suggests he leaned toward option 3, understanding power without being consumed by it. Is it immoral to use these techniques? Machiavelli would say the question is irrelevant. Morality is a luxury afforded by power, not a path to it. But there is a deeper truth here. You are already being manipulated. Every day. By everyone. By marketers, politicians, friends. Family. They may not be doing it consciously, but the patterns are there. So the question isn't whether to use persuasion techniques. It is whether to do it consciously or unconsciously, with purpose or by accident. Facts don't win arguments because arguments were never about facts. They're about power, status, emotion, and identity. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago, and nothing has changed. We've gotten better at dressing manipulation in respectable clothing. We call it communication skills or emotional intelligence. But underneath, it is the same game, the same patterns, the same dynamics. The only question is, will you play consciously? Or will you keep bringing facts to a feelings fight? The prince was never meant as a guide for how things should be. It was a mirror showing how things are. And that mirror hasn't cracked in 5 centuries because human nature doesn't change. We'd like to think we're more evolved now, more rational, more enlightened. We're not. We're the same pattern-seeking, status-obsessed, emotionally driven creatures. We've always been, just with better technology. Machiavelli saw through the pretense. He wrote down what everyone knows, but nobody admits. That power matters more than truth. That appearance matters more than reality. That winning matters more than being right. You can reject this. Call it cynical, call it dark. But rejecting it doesn't make it less true. It just makes you less prepared. And in the game of persuasion, preparation is everything. Facts don't win arguments. Understanding does, not understanding the facts. Understanding the game.